Irene Leache and Annie Wood were educators here in Norfolk in the period following the Civil War. And one scholar says that they are the fountainhead of all cultural activities in Norfolk. And that's because they moved to the city in 1871. They opened a girls' school called the Leache Seminary. And at the heart of that educational experience is the role of culture. They believed that cultural development was intrinsic to personal and community growth. And so out of that legacy grew a generation of women, as well as a collection that Annie Wood started that eventually grew into the Norfolk Museum of Arts and Sciences. And that's the institution that later in 1971 becomes the Chrysler Museum. So they are really responsible for a lot of kind of the cultural rebirth of the city of Norfolk after it was essentially destroyed in the Civil War. We felt it was appropriate to start telling their story now because we have this amazing exhibition, Susan Watkins and Women Artists of the Progressive Era. And this exhibition is dedicated to looking at the same time period as Irene Leache and Annie Wood and amplifying women artists' voices of that period. So we thought it was appropriate to start to retell the story of Irene Leache and Annie Wood and their role not only at our institution but in the community more broadly. And adding voices to the narrative that we tell about the history of this museum is really critical because the museum was just not one person founding it. It was efforts that came out of the entire community. So we had Irene Leache and Annie Wood, and then a generation later, we have the Norfolk Society of the Arts and Florence Sloan. And it's all of these people who come together and compile their resources and efforts and energy to create the museum that we see today. Jeff Harrison and Mia Laufer were both Irene Leache curators. Jeff was the first and Mia is the current. And they both have done an amazing job of thinking not only about the objects that were given by the Irene Leache Memorial Association, so ensuring that we are organizing and caring for those objects, but they've also done an excellent job of thinking about the legacy of the two women and how the ideas that they put forth within their work, not only at the school, but within all of their cultural programming, how those ideas live on today. I hope that audiences take away from today's program this notion that there is no single founder of the museum. There is no single founder of a community or even a nation, perhaps, that all of these different voices work together to build the amazing opportunities and experiences that we have. And that's a case in point here at the Chrysler Museum. If Leache and Wood could see the museum now, I think they would be most proud of all of our educational programs because they were so dedicated to cultural development as a part of personal growth. And we do an amazing job with offering educational and public programs that really focus on the role of culture in building community. Last year, we served over 10,000 students and thousands of adults throughout our region, and that's work that really aligns with and reflects those kernel of ideas that were founded by Irene and Annie so long ago.